Survivor's ready!
Direct from Hobart, it's time yet again to hear from those so-called experts from Survivor Oz talk about yet another reality show for breaking their previous promise to only ever talk about Survivor and not any other reality show. Interesting. It's Big Brother Oz, and here is Big Brother himself, despite actually being a younger brother, Ben Waterworth!
Hello everybody and welcome to a Big Brother Oz, a show that you thought was done and dusted, and you thought, I don't have to listen to that crap again to 2015. But we're back, and we're back with a very special episode, because just before we closed it out this season, we had a interview special. We had Gemma and Bushan on to chat about this show. We're bringing you another interview special, particularly for two big names who we tease you about getting on. One in particular who, let's be honest, we have been, praying to for a very long time this entire season. Kristen is back. You thought you heard the last of her voice for a while, but oh god, here she is. Kristen, welcome back to Big Brother Oz.
Yay, so exciting.
You're like, I'm over this season. I'm back to watching season 4 now, but...
That is accurate, but I do love the guests we're having today.
Yes, well, we're going to be joined later in this episode by Season 9 contestant Estelle Landy. Very excited to hear from her and her take on this season and a few other things that have no doubt been brought up, of course, throughout this season of Big Brother Oz. But I'm going to get straight into this because we are very, very excited. We have had this person on our positive radar since day one. We've literally rigged radars to get her to number one, and the whole Big Brother Australia community has not only, for the majority, supported her, they have worshipped her, they have praised to her. And I do, of course, speak of the one, the only, Her Holiness Priya Malik. Priya, welcome to Big Brother Oz.
Hello, thank you for having me, guys. It's an honour.
It's an honour to have you here. It's like I've never interviewed, somebody of such high stature as yourself, Priya. I mean, we're talking to this figure that we've been praying to for like 79 days. It's strange.
I know, it's a divine experience, I'm sure.
How have you found when you've gotten out of the house this whole Prisus social media campaign and everything that's come along with it? Is it a shock? Do you laugh at it? I mean, how do you take it?
Okay, so I got out of the house and the executive producer spoke with me and he was like, you were awesome, la-di-da, and he was like, you've got a cult-like following. So initially he told me that I was a very polarizing personality. Either people really, really loved me or really hated me, and I was like, tell me something I don't know. And then he said, and then he was like, you've got a cult-like following on the outside, and I thought he's just blowing smoke up my ass to make me feel better. Then I met the social media team, and the social media team told me about it as well, and I thought, oh, well, there might be a few people doing it. Then I walked into another producer's office, and she showed me a meme. And I'm very familiar with the way memes work. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Then I met my husband and he showed me everything that's been happening online. And I was like, this is so cool. So to whoever started it, props to you. It's funny, it's humorous, and I absolutely adore it. It's actually really, really funny. So thank you.
I don't know who it was started. I think Behind Big Brother had a bit to do with it, because kind of on their images of the top of all the housemates, like you had the halo above your head, and and then it kind of all these memes were popping up, and there are so many Twitter accounts that is like, Prisus, and there's like the Church of Christianity, and
I know. Merry Christmas in advance, guys.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to my Christmas presents this year.
No, I'm totally running with this. I love it. I absolutely adore it.
You could honestly keep running with this and like full on start a proper church, and then there's a career in that somewhere.
There sure is. And my website is closed at the moment, priyamalik.com, but my cousin suggested, because he's been following this whole movement as well, because my cousin suggested that I add a section of Christianity in there and start contributing to it. And yeah, I will. As soon as things get back on track, I sure will.
Well, I, as of this week, became ordained in the Church of Bacon. So if people can get a change in a church about a meat, then I'm sure that the Church of Christianity can easily be a thing.
Right. Okay. I will make a note of it.
Yes. Well, it's been a week and a half now, of course, since it's all ended now. You're back into everyday life. Is it all kind of slowly getting back to normal?
It is. It's pretty much the same, except that you don't get asked that question in before this happened. So I just get asked this question a lot more often. Other than that, it's all the same. There is obviously a lot of recognition and people saying good stuff, and still compensating for the time that I missed with my husband, and still getting used to all the free stuff that's coming my way. So. Yay, Big Brother. I get a free T-shirt.
Wow.
It's awesome.
What are some of the other free things you get? I mean, have you spent your $5,000 appliances online voucher yet, Priya?
I haven't yet. No. I'm yet to have a look at that. But other than that, there's a free dress on its way. There is like free razors. I've got hairy armpits. So yeah, anything, anything for free. Yay, bring it my way.
Milk the most out of it. You know. Don't know how long it's going to last for. Is it? I know, kind of, when you go on a holiday and you get back into everyday life, like a day or two, there's that real down phase. You're like, oh, I'm home now. I'm back to it. How is it after 79 days in a bubble on Big Brother? Kind of when you do that first day back at home, is there just sort of that moment where you're just like, oh, this time a week ago I was doing this, or this I'm doing that?
So far, this is like my third day in Adelaide. I've been traveling quite a bit. So I was in Sydney, then Gold Coast, then Adelaide, then Gold Coast again. So I knew the bubble will burst. Like, I was pretty realistic about the fact that it will burst. And in a way, I wanted to get back to normal a little bit as well, that little touch of normality. So I came home yesterday afternoon and I slept. I woke up, wore my husband's T-shirt, which is what I love to do at home, and then just cooked in my own kitchen. It actually felt great. It actually felt good. And it's a weird feeling. It's a bit weird because your life doesn't stay extremely private anymore. But it's still nice to be home, do homey things, and be myself. Yeah,
not be surrounded by strangers who are like causing issues and not having cameras follow you the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, like by the third day, I think I kind of even forgot that cameras were there. For me, there were mirrors, and as you may have noticed, I love them. So I've actually asked Bushy to buy a few more mirrors in the house. That's pretty much it. But otherwise, it's nice to be back.
Do you have to also get used to the fact you don't have to go up and speak to like a mirror or whatever it is when you go to talk to Big Brother like once a day or whatever it is? You know, Bushy's not doing that. You miss his voice, huh?
Yes, I'm thinking of recording it and keeping it in the bedroom, and Bushy and I can use it whenever needed. So yeah. In fact, I started following him on Twitter yesterday, and I told him that I'm missing it already. It's like you do get attached to that voice that you speak with, and the people who voice Big Brother are very unbiased people, and they show you a different perspective on things, and you're very yourself when you're with them, and you're vulnerable and you're insecure. And it's just one of those great things about the experience, the whole diary room experience.
We had Ben Norris on throughout the season each week, and he's kind of telling us a lot about, post show that he met the voices, and like one of them played a trick on him, and like hey, this is Big Brother. Does it ruin the illusion when you meet them? Like, hey, you don't look how I thought you would look.
Yeah. Well, I've always said that sometimes it is better to wonder and not know than to know and lose the wonder. And that's pretty much what happened when I met them. I was like, oh, damn, I wish I'd never met you. I wish I'd kept that illusion. It's like knowing that Santa Claus isn't real. Like, that sucks, right? So it was a similar feeling, but I loved knowing that they are real people and that they know us that well. And I met all three of them.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Just to all our younger listeners, Santa might not be real, but Prisus is. So. Praise Priya, enjoy Christmas.
And you are on Prisus's naughty list already. Yes. Just by
we're going into Big Brother, were you much of a fan of the show? Had you sort of stayed up to date with all the seasons before you went into it?
I actually got into the show around 3 or 4 years ago, so I haven't been watching the show for a long time. And the first show that I watched was Big Boss India, which is the Big Brother in India.
Right.
And when I watched it, I thought, wow, that is so psychological. It's like the study of the human mind, It's a psychological social experiment. You get put into situations and then your real self develops and you react and respond and all of that. So that's what got me hooked onto it. Then I got onto Big Brother Australia as a show, and I started watching it. I watched Benjamin Norris's season first, and then I watched the last season. So yeah, I loved the show. I loved the whole format of it, and I think it is one of the most real reality shows out there. You can't be anything but yourselves. And I really wanted to put that to test. So yeah.
How does Big Brother Australia compare to Big Brother India? That would be an interesting comparison.
It's different in a few ways. It's actually quite similar, like the tasks and everything else. And there is obviously alcohol on Big Brother Australia. They don't show it on Big Brother India. And the Big Brother India version is a celebrity version. So they have their own little smoking room there, which is not in Big Brother Australia. But in terms of the format of the show, it's actually very similar. Like the nominations and evictions, it's all pretty much the same.
Is it like a big show in India? Like, is it,
It's huge. It's really big. Considering that the population is over 1 billion, it's like the TRP is like it skyrockets, and which is one reason why I didn't tell my parents the name of the show I was going into, because my dad was traveling. My mum and dad were traveling from America to India at the time, and I thought if I tell them it's Big Brother or Big Boss, as to say in India, my dad would like tell every person on the airport, the flight hostesses, the pilot. He would like run into the cockpit and tell them that my daughter is getting on the show. So I was like, no, I can't tell them. They'll be like, oh my God, boom, what just happened? So, yeah.
Maybe you can go on the Indian version now that you're a celebrity, that they'll take you in. So, yeah.
Yeah, a few people have actually mentioned that to me. So, yeah, I will keep it in my priestess's Bible and see how I go.
Did you go into it expecting to last as long as you did, or did you think that maybe you wouldn't last that long?
No, well, I'm quite a confident person by nature, and I know that sometimes comes across as cocky, but there is a line between being self-confident and being cocky, and I always try and not cross that. So there was that self-confidence there that I am myself, I know myself really well, and I think I should do okay. In week 1, though, I had those bouts where I was like, I don't know, there are many strong personalities in the show, I don't know how I'm faring, I don't know if I will last, and it's only when after the first time I got nominated, which was the second eviction, and I got saved. That's when I thought, okay, looks like I may have a chance at this. I kind of knew that I was in the game to play it, and if I was playing it, I strived to win it for sure.
It was interesting, I think, with the whole the pairs twist and everything, and I'm not sure really if sort of since you've come out of the house you've been made aware that really in the pre-season promos you were the first one announced. Obviously, you were the first one on stage. You were, it was very heavily focused, the promo on you to start with. So I think the viewers were very familiar with you straight away. So I don't know if that kind of helps you sort of establish something with the fans early on because we sort of get to know you first, or I don't know really how that would work in that aspect.
Right. I kind of had an inkling when I walked on the stage that I'm the first person walking on the stage while I was waiting outside in my limo. Well, just pulling that in, the limo. No.
Milk it, Priya. It's all right.
No, I kind of had an inkling that I may be the first one. And someone at Channel 9 had mentioned to me that the promos are out in Adelaide. But when they were out in Adelaide, I had no idea that I would be the one in power and all of that. I think in a way that helped. And whether or not... It's one and the same thing, people would see the promo and they would either like me or they will hate me. There's usually no middle ground with me. So I knew that would happen. But in a way, I was really happy to be the one in power in the first week. Even though some people would say that power is a curse in the Big Brother game, but I've always felt it's a blessing in disguise. It just depends on how you deal with it. So yeah.
How do you then cope with, like, obviously you straight away thrown in there with Katie? Kind of we saw the situation there that happened with the money and all that sort of stuff. But was she somebody that you grew to kind of get to a bond with because you were forced into that situation with her, or is she somebody that if you had more of a choice you wouldn't have sort of been that close with her?
Well, my choice was dependent on the fact that I knew Katie would be a bit of a challenge and more interesting for me in the game. In a lot of ways, she was very unlike me. The only thing that I think was similar is that we were both strong personalities, but in the way we delivered it and the way we carried ourselves was very different. And with Jake, I felt that had I chosen him, I would have had the upper hand, and I did not want that. I wanted a bit of a challenge there. And Katie, she and I operate differently, and I had begun to like her towards the beginning of the second week. I've always firmly believed that there is goodness in each one of us, and there was that in Katie too. It just takes a little while to see it in some people. I've actually watched the first 3 episodes so far, and I can tell that she did not like the way I operated, and well, ditto. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to deal with different personalities and different people. And on the outside world, she's a great girl, and I've got no issues with her.
When you watch the episodes, because I can imagine when you're in there, I'm sure there are moments where you're thinking like, oh, this will make TV, this will make TV. I mean, are there moments when you're starting to watch these episodes now where you're like, wow, I can't believe they never showed that, or wow, why are they showing that? That was kind of pointless.
There were these little things that my husband pointed out, and I was like, oh, like the Mary had a little lamb. The fact that I was a little girl and I used to get on top of the dinner table and start singing to the guests because I needed attention. I never thought that would make it on TV. So now the entire nation knows that. So yay. But there were hardly any moments where I would be like, oh, this will definitely make it on TV. As I said, starting the 3rd or 4th day, you kind of do tend to forget that the cameras are around constantly. And I'm glad that I forgot that aspect of it, because I think if I didn't, I would have had a hard time coping in the house. So, and I've always said, someone asked me today as well, someone emailed me a few interview questions and said, do you feel that you were portrayed in a certain way, or there was heavy editing and all of that? I've always said that you can't cook a meal if I don't give you the ingredients. So I obviously gave it to them. And I know how reality TV works. Like, there is Frankenbites where they pick and choose little bits of sentences and string them together. I know there is heavy editing. They can portray you in a certain way. But I entered the show knowing that. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Well, on that point, we sort of throughout our weeks that we were discussing certain issues, and I think towards the end there was kind of interesting points brought up in terms of how people were perceiving you through social media, based on the fact that the way you were playing, you were female compared to some of the male contestants. I mean, Kristen has got more to add on this, I feel. Kristen,
sure.
I want you to ask your question because you're going to word this better than I am right now.
Yeah, I went on kind of like a sexism rant on this show earlier a few weeks ago, and I was kind of wondering like your thoughts about it, where you went in as like this obviously strong, smart, strategic woman, and you were deemed by the public like manipulative and two-faced and a bitch. And then you see people like David, and they're just called strategic and smart. And like, it blows my mind that people in 2014 can't appreciate a strong woman without vilifying her. And I kind of just wanted to hear how you felt about that.
I have thought about this as well, and since I've come out, I've been reading a lot of social media, and I have noticed that myself. There was a little argument in the house, I'm not sure if it ever made it to air, about the fact that David said that whenever I'm around, I gossip. And I said, okay, when women talk, it's very easy to call it gossip. But when men do it, we just call it talking, because there were a lot of men on the show that talked with each other as well, but it's called talking and not gossiping, and it sucks, because you're right, it's 2014. At the same time, yes, this tag of being a bitch, you do tend to get that as a woman. Somehow people can't stand a strong, intelligent, opinionated woman. Not all people. There are lots of people, lots of Australians, Americans, Canadians, Indians, a lot of people that have appreciated that it was a refreshing change. But I know it happens. It's a paradox. It's ridiculous, but it's true. And it's a sad world we live in sometimes. But I had no qualms on being myself. And I was like, you know what, I'll be unapologetically Priya. If that means being perceived as a bitch, so be it. But at the same time, I was staying true to myself, and I look back at myself in the mirror, and the reflection looks at me, and I know I've been myself through and through. But yes, it's very easy for women to be objectified and to be called a bitch. I wish we had the same connotation when we call a man a dog, but we don't.
It's we obviously do Survivor on this show too, and it seems to be a thing too in Survivor that it's exactly that. I mean, we've had contestants recently on seasons where they've just been as equally strategic and cutthroat as some of the male contestants, but exactly that they get called a bitch, and it's I don't know if this is just a way again society, and the way people get things edited as well can play. I don't know. It is sad, and the whole part of the reason why we loved you so much in the show was because the strategic side of everything too was so good. And I guess Big Brother Australia, when it comes to strategy, there's only so much you can do. But did you try and exploit as much as you could do with strategy as you could? And were there kind of things that you really wish strategically you were allowed to do that you couldn't?
No, pretty much. I think I remained strategic as much as I wanted to, and everything that I did strategy-wise, I did it my way. The only thing that I feel is that the trouble with being an openly strategic player on a show like Big Brother Australia is that then everything that you do is deemed as a strategy. There were a lot of things that I did on the show which were actually not based on strategy at all. And two of the biggest examples there were me standing behind Gemma and my friendship with Sky. But I was called out on that a lot in the house because I was openly strategic. So even if I would do something humane or something that I would normally do as Priya being Priya, a human being, flesh and bones and a heart, it would suddenly be called, oh my God, you are being strategic. And I'd be like, not this time, not in this instance. So yeah, that was the only trouble with being with being boldly strategic. But I would rather have that trouble than go behind the doors and say that I'm not here to play.
And another thing too that you were called out a lot on, well, people kind of like bookend you, and we saw the whole situation with you and Dave, the fact that you're a teacher, and that whole fight, and you're saying like shame on you, David, about the teacher, if that was his thoughts. Was there? I mean, again, you haven't seen it, so you probably aren't aware of how much was shown. But was that kind of a constant aspect that people you felt were just stereotyping you as a teacher, and that was kind of affecting their opinions of you in the house?
I noticed this last year happening with Michaela because she was a teacher as well, and I remember as an audience member watching the show, and everything she would do, people would be like, oh, she's controlling because she's a teacher. No, she's controlling because that's probably a part of her personality, if that makes sense. And I know teaching as a profession, people do put that in a box. Okay, a teacher is supposed to be this, a teacher is supposed to be that, a teacher does this, a teacher does that. It's something that I feel very strongly about, stereotyping. And when that happened in the spa, and he said, you speak with me like I'm your student, you are condescending, you belittle me. I was like, hey, hang on. I don't do it. B, if you think I do it because of being a teacher, you're wrong, because that's not what a teacher is supposed to do. I've come into a little bit of a controversy because I'm a little bit of, when I say that, again, am I stereotyping here? I don't know. I kind of work differently as a teacher as well, the way I act with my students, the way I mark their work, the way we act with each other. And a lot of my students actually stood up on social media saying that Miss Malik is the exact opposite of what David thinks it is. And I was glad that people could hear it from the horse's mouth. There were apparently long posts made by my Year 12s online, and I appreciated that support. But yeah, the way David went on about it, like, I could not say anything about a radiographer. I wish I could. I don't know, what do radiographers even do? Like, ask people to take off their clothes so that they could do an x-ray, right? so every time he would ask someone to take something off, I'd be like, oh my God, David, you're doing this because you're a radiographer. I've helped other students with radio. Like, who does that? You can't bring someone's profession into an argument and then stereotype them based on that. And you know what? I've noticed this happening with mums. I don't know if they showed that because I spoke about this as well. A lot of mothers go through this all the time. Every time they would talk to someone, people are like, I'm not your child, or don't speak with me like that, or don't discipline me. You're acting like this because you're a mom. No, teaching is just my profession. It's not my personality.
And I loved it when Bashan came into the house and he pointed that out when he was nominating for you. Like, don't bring a profession into this, dude.
I know, he was so gangster. I know. Like, he's swag, hasn't he?
Well, obviously, as you know, I had the honour of chatting to him when you were in the house, and he's got this cult following too. Like, did you feel this, like the love for your husband?
I know, it is so funny. I was at the airport the other day, and the women who were doing my ticketing, they all came up to me and they were like, "Oh my God, we love your husband." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
I was in Big Brother. Hello.
But I was the one on Big Brother. Nah, he's a lovely man, an absolute beautiful soul, a compassionate and a kind man, and I'm sure that came through. Couldn't have done this without him. Yeah, he's got a bit of a following of his own, and I've been reading some comments about him online. So he's a happy man. He's a happy man.
I can imagine. I'm going to get to some listener questions in a second, Priya, because we got a few sent in through Twitter and Facebook. Sure. But just a couple of things I'll touch on before I get to that. The social media following was huge for you throughout this season, and one thing that we seemed to note was that often when you were up for eviction, you were very close to getting evicted on a couple of occasions when they actually showed the percentages. A lot of the time towards the end, they just stopped showing the percentages, so we didn't know. But
right.
They had this part on the Big Brother Australia website. It was called the Radar, where it tracked like social media, like who's been talked about the most online with hashtags and all this sort of stuff. You were always number one, essentially. You were pretty much the most talked about one. And I'll just point out, when you weren't number one and we were recording, we would rig it to make you number one, even if it took 5-10 minutes out of an episode of us just literally going, "Hey, we're just typing on Twitter, guys, we're just rigging it so Priya goes to number one." So
Be lucky.
you know, we like to do these things, but we found it fascinating that kind of there was this huge cult following for you in social media that didn't necessarily translate into voting. So do you think, do we need to add a social media element to the voting of Big Brother, kind of like they do on The Voice, where I think some of the sales on like iTunes and YouTube count towards the overall vote?
Oh, well, I hope so. Like, they should totally do that, right? And there are so many people who hate me, so imagine if that makes me win. Then they're going to be like, "Damn, what the heck happened here?" So, yeah, I think the whole social media aspect, it obviously helps the show. So, yeah, it would be great if it adds towards the votes in some way. Like, I wouldn't mind the 200 grand, you know?
Yeah, it'd be kind of all right, I think, wouldn't it? Like 200,000? Why not?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it will just add to the pool of money that lays in my bank account already. So, yeah.
Well, one thing that, one of the ones that when you were sort of, well, not really leaked, because you were sort of announced as a first housemate, then it sort of came about your stand-up and like the YouTube clip of you doing stand-up. So that sort of...
Talking about fuck buddies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the good one to be shown, of course. I mean, do you feel that's going to help? Like, have people shown an interest now for your comedy? Have you kind of gotten, contact from people saying, "Hey, we love this, we want you to do this"?
So I started doing comedy towards the end of January this year. So by the time I had gotten on the show, I had only been doing it for like 8 to 9 months to be precise. And yes, there have been a lot of comedy views since Adelaide Comedy has helped promote me as well. And I'm doing a Fringe show next year in the month of February.
Brilliant.
So a lot of people have expressed that they have loved that side of it. I wish I had better clips to upload. I actually did consider taking that clip off YouTube as well at one point in time, but I had told the producers about it, and it was pretty much political adult humor as well. So I was like, it's me, and if that's what people want to see, that's cool with me. So yeah, I've had a bit of interest in comedy. People have spoken with me about the comedy channel and about trying to branch out that part of, and even getting into some comedic writing that has come up to me as well.
That's great. It's interesting. Kind of obviously Lawson. We saw a lot on our screens of him performing magic, and I think there was only about once or twice that we at least saw you doing stand up. Was this something that you did a lot in the house? Like, "Hey, Priya, do stand up for us"?
The first time I did it was the first time Lawson did his magic show in the lounge room, and I was watching that on the show yesterday. But my set was, again, heavily politically based and had a lot of sexual humor in it, and I'm sure it must not have made it to PG, which is why they didn't show it. And then I think I did a show which was about the housemate. I hardly had any time to write it. The best part about comedy, I mean, the only way comedy can work is that if you've got a really strong script, so you've written really well, and then the timing. I'm still honing my skills, still learning, but I did not do as much comedy as Lawson did his magic. I just didn't want to keep doing it because at one point in time, I know that the housemates started getting a little tired of Lawson's magic, which I actually hate because I think he's a great performer and he really knows his shit. So I kind of was like, I don't want to force it down people's throats. So I kind of stayed away from it, but the one-liners kept coming. That was my part. That was just me being myself. So, yeah.
If the comedy took off quite significantly, would this be something you would like to pursue more than teaching, or is kind of teaching always going to be there, do you feel, over comedy?
Since I was a little girl, I've always been performing. Like, I was always on stage doing public speaking, debating. You will be surprised to hear that I used to debate a lot in school.
Really?
Surprise, right? I know. I used to do a lot of that in school, but from 17, which was my end of year 12, till 27, I pretty much didn't do any stage at all, which is just because of the way my life was going, so 10 years. And then I got into slam poetry and stand-up comedy, and I loved the life behind the microphone. For me was way better than the life without it. So it is in me. I've come to realize that 10 years I tried to deny that part of myself, but it is definitely a part of my personality. I would love to take it forward. But teaching remains my niche. Like, I adore helping the students. For me, the best part about teaching is the time that I spend in the classroom with my girls, or my students, as I call it. I don't know what next year has in store for me, but I would like to do a combination of both. But I definitely want to take ahead my career in stage and performance arts and media and radio, or wherever else it takes me.
Beautiful. Well,
because I can't deny it anymore. Like, sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, you're welcome to come down here and be our co-host, Priya. There you go. We can't pay you with anything except not a lot, but
as long as there's, like, I don't know, a free T-shirt somewhere,
sure,
or like faces, as I said, hairy armpits.
Yep, look, that's fine, and we can organise that, no problem at all. I feel. And also, just before I get to the listener questions, Ryan, winner, great result for him. You were rooting for Sky, of course, at the end, but I mean, obviously happy for Ryan and how the season all wrapped up with him beating Travis to win the whole series.
Ron is a great guy, and obviously it was the decision of the Australian public, and I completely respect it and understand it, though I may not necessarily agree with it. I would never be happy if anyone wins other than myself, but then when I didn't win, I wanted Sky to, because I felt Sky was one of the most entertaining housemaids. She had given the show a lot. Ryan did as well, but in the first few weeks of the show, he actually didn't. There was, I think, 5 or 6 weeks when he wasn't nominated at all. I don't know. He was a very slow revealer, and it took him a while to come out of his shell. Am I happy that he won? I can't say that I'm sad, because, yes, I'm happy for him. But that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all I have to say about it.
I think it's interesting that now that you're watching it, I think got to the point when we were in our episodes. There were several episodes there. I remember Chris and we were saying, like, so Ryan, is he in this season? Who?
I know. Like, who is he? I know. I know, right?
There was actually a clip that was shown. I can't remember how early it was, but you might get to that and see that, where he's sitting in a diary room, and it shows Jake's name under it. Like, Big Brother didn't even know who he was.
Oh my God, you're kidding, right? That is so funny.
No, I have a screenshot of it that my friend commonly sends me just as a reminder of, this is our winner. Big Brother didn't know who he was for the first 4 weeks.
There was a promo picture they put out on the Facebook page that cut Ryan out of the image.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. And the funny part is that he did not even audition for Big Brother. He had actually auditioned. Block.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, to each their own, and I'm sure that he has a massive following out there, and he's a good bloke. He actually is. But, yeah.
Interesting. So I'm guessing you're going to keep in contact with people like Sky and Jason. Who are some of the other ones that you can see, like, really having long-lasting friendships? And now there's some, if you want to admit this, Priya, that perhaps you are, maybe glad that you might not speak to them in a couple of years.
Yes, let's just call that person David.
Yes, okay.
So, Sky and Jason, I have definitely been in touch with them. I've been in touch with Lena as well. It was her birthday yesterday, so we had a telephone conversation. And Marina was one of the intruders of the show, and she's in Adelaide, as you may know. So I have plans to catch up with her as well. Other than that, Aisha and Travis are people that I do intend to keep in touch with. Even Kat and I, towards the end of the show, had started getting along quite well. So, yeah, I actually wouldn't mind being in touch with anyone, really. Even if I'm in Sydney, I wouldn't mind letting David and Ryan know that I'm here if you guys want to catch up for coffee. But in terms of being constantly in touch, definitely Jason, Sky, Aisha, Lena, Marina, and these were the ones who take the cake. And even Richard, I actually really liked Richard by the time he left the show.
Yeah. I was going to say, wait till you get to those episodes. It was very interestingly edited, your relationship with Richard. So,
oh, really? Okay. The day I nominated him was the day I actually did not like him at all. And my reasoning behind nominating him when I said I don't need another Dave and all of that had actually a lot to do with the conversation I had with him just a few hours prior to that nomination. The funny part is, since the day I nominated him and the week that followed, I actually began to like him. He's a good guy. Had he come in as an original housemate, I think he would have fared a lot better than he did. But, oh well. Shit happens.
Shit happens, exactly. Now, before we let you go, Priya, there's a couple of listener questions we got here through Twitter. We had one here from Slay at LOL Survivor. Thanks for this question. Slay says, which eviction caused you the most grief and why?
Which eviction caused me the most grief and why? Definitely Jason. When Jason left, I felt that a part of my Big Brother experience was taken away. Jason and I had bonded really well, and we had that. As you know, I never had, in the beginning of the show, I never had like that go-to person that everyone else seemed to have. While I did not mind that, I appreciated that Jason was always there to have a listen. So I felt his eviction affected me really strongly. His eviction did. And right after that, Marina left. And I've been told that Marina and my friendship wasn't showing a lot either. But so it was one blow after another pretty much. So it was definitely Jason's eviction that hit me the hardest.
It's very shocking. We were big Jason fans, and we're actually very lucky enough to get Jason on the show throughout the season too. So
he's an amazing guy.
Very, very good guy. Now, the final one I've got here, this one, a couple of the parts of this have been answered, and I think there's part here that you wouldn't really be able to answer until you've seen the rest of the season. Peter Barek. Now, Peter, first of all, says, tell Priya she has a fan in Poland who absolutely adores you. You got a Polish fan here.
Oh my God.
Priya, spreading the love.
Oh, hang on. OMG.
OMG, Priya Malik, at Twitter. That's your handle. Good segue there. Now, he asks, how much time do the housemates spend talking about how they are being perceived by the public?
Okay. Myself, no time at all. I did not give a shit. I thought that, okay, I don't care how I'm being perceived because this is me being me, and I've walked into this show, so I've given them complete control on how they want to edit and what they want to do with it. But yes, there were people in the show who were heavily concerned with how they're being portrayed. People would cry. People would be like, oh my God, I hope this never makes it on the show. So some people had concerns. I think it wasn't a matter of time. It was a matter of personalities. Some people cared a lot more than others did. So, yeah, it was just a matter of people who cared too much about what other people think about them. I, for sure, wasn't one of them.
There you go. Thank you, Peter, all the way from Poland. I know we've got an American fan base and the UK fan base. I never knew about the Polish Big Brother fan base.
Yeah. Love it.
There you go.
Love it.
There you go. Well, Priya, I do want to say, it has been an absolute honour having you here on the show. Before I let you go, plug your social media, your Twitter, your Instagram, everything. Where can people follow you on social media?
Okay, so it is OMG Priya Malik, and it's the same handle for Twitter and Instagram, and you can find my official page on Facebook as well. If you write Priya Malik, the one with the most likes is the official one. Just an FYI. I'm not very active on Facebook, but Twitter is definitely my favorite medium. And I am on Tumblr, but I'm yet to change it to my original name. I'm a bit of a geek in terms of Tumblr and Twitter and all of that. But yeah, oh my God, Priya Malik, OMG.
Well, praises. Appreciate your time here. Thank you so much, Priya. Best of luck with teaching and the comedy and everything that comes your way. And good luck in spending the $5,000 appliances online voucher as well.
Thank you very much, Ben and Kristan. It's been a pleasure.
There you have it, Priya Malik. What an absolute honour. Kristan, we just had a spiritual moment, I believe, for the last half hour or so.
Yes, I am fully engulfed in my Christianity.
We're going to go to Mass after this to... Oh, we're giddy with excitement. We can't believe that happened. You know, when you spend 25, 26 episodes, you know, praying to one person and then you get her on the show. Yeah. It was Priya, folks. Come on. Let's continue the love fest and the excitement of this episode because we've got another special guest for you. Another person who I know we're both big fans of, competed on the 9th season back in 2012 where, despite the fact she seemingly was nominated every single week, she survived right to the end, finished third. I do, of course, speak of the one, the only, Estelle Landy. Estelle, welcome to Big Brother Oz.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm here.
You are here. It's a pleasure to have you on the show because I mean it's obviously been a couple of years now since your season, and we've just finished this year's season of Big Brother. But you still got a very strong following out there. It seems in social media, you're still very popular out there amongst the Big Brother fans. I mean, is this something that kind of 2 years later you're still getting recognised for? People like, "Hi Estelle, loved you on Big Brother" and things like that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I guess my following is, it's nuts. In short, 2 years, it seems like it's gone, but it's not forgotten to me. Like, I literally still daily get stopped or people look at me strange or, you know, and socially, online, it's still nuts every day.
I can imagine it's kind of something that's really going to be there for a long time because I think we've found that even with some of the housemates from sort of the older seasons, you know, the particularly well-known ones are still clearly getting recognised and people are into it. But I mean, for you going into this, because of course this was the reboot of Big Brother, they'd brought it back after 4 or so years off air. I mean, were you a fan of sort of the older ones before you went into this? What made you actually apply going into this new version of Big Brother?
Funny story. Like, if you talk super fan and, you know, like the purist of Big Brother that you do see on the behind Big Brother forums, I never really had a clue about any of that until probably the last year. So I didn't watch the show, except I had a few friends that were on the show, Bodhi, Alicia, those characters. But how I applied was I actually broke my arm and took heaps of pain medication. To give you a short story, saw this application and thought, what the hell? And I kind of just kept lucking my way through. So I might disappoint some people when I say that I didn't really watch the show and I didn't really strive to get on, but I had this gut feeling that I was actually going to get on from day one.
Wow, and you did, and you nearly won.
Yeah, it was an insane situation.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, does that, I suppose, they're really, when it comes into a show like Big Brother, that going in as a super fan, sure, you know everything, you sure know how it works, but I suppose, you know, that can also be a negative because you're expecting certain things and you can find it different. But for someone like yourself who maybe, you know, wasn't such of a fan of it, you go in there with a fresh mind. So do you kind of feel in a way that that's sort of an advantage, that you're not worrying about sort of little things that maybe a big super fan of the show would be worrying about?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to it now that I've been able to retrospectively, you know, take some time and look back. And I kind of do regret not watching more because when I look at people like Benjamin and Tim, not that I ever went on there to win because truly I didn't consider winning until the last 2 days. I look at their understanding of the show and from an entertainment television perspective, I think I was a little bit naive. So I think that it was great because it gave me the chance to just be myself. But when I look at it now, there's a few opportunities that I wish I may have taken a little bit differently and kind of, you know, really harness them like the guys who had won. Like Benjamin, you know, love him or hate him, he figured out kind of to a degree what was going to work for him. But Tim he is the gold class Big Brother winner. You know what I mean? Like, he's a super fan and an amazing entertainment personality. And I think it was great for him that he had knowledge of the show, but then it has worked against a lot of the other housemates.
Yeah. How do you think you would have gone on a season with Tim? Like, say you were on last year's instead of 2012. You know, I mean, do you think he's somebody that would your personality worked with him? I mean, do you think you would have clashed with him in an environment like Big Brother?
I'll split that question in half because we've discussed this, Tim and I, quite a bit. Tim was actually supposed cast to be my boyfriend, to be the type, my Josh type.
Ah, okay.
So Josh and I were actually a match made in heaven, and if you were, you know, a fan, you would have seen the start. Josh and I were really getting along well. And they didn't actually put Tim in because he was going to clash with Michael. So Tim was actually emailing the producers outside the show and saying, when things are going on with Benjamin, saying, get me in there, like, I need to cut this down, what he's doing, you know. So I think it would have been fantastic, and it would have been a completely different house if he was in my year, for sure. But to be honest, when I look back at Tahan, you know, the Tullys, the Drews, whatever, I would have loved to have been in that house last year, because I feel like my typecast would have just fitted in better, but it wouldn't have given me the experience that I had.
Yeah, that would have been fascinating viewing, seeing you mixed in there with Tahan and Tully. I'm just trying to think of what would happen in that situation.
Well, it's funny because Tahan, I think, was really wrongly portrayed. Tahan is actually one of the nicest, sweetest, most genuine people you'll ever find, and I think that she was portrayed as a mean girl quite badly, even though she was a finalist. But I think it would have been interesting. But I just wonder if Tim would have got competitive with me, because he's really within there to win.
Well, you mentioned that he would have clashed with Michael. We know what happened with you and Michael towards the end. Could something like that happen with you and Tim?
Well, Tim and I are like kindred spirits. It's really strange, our friendship. It's like we're in love, but in like a really platonic way. So Tim did actually mention in a number of occasions, I'm not, too main horns, but he was worried that we would have fallen in love and that would have ruined ruined his chance of winning. So, yeah, it would have been a whole different house, though. I would have loved it, though. Intellectual is what I'm attracted to, and, free spirit. God, you can't get much more than that with Tim Dormer.
It's fascinating. Well, clearly, he's into Terry Irwin, right? If all the rumours are to be believed. I mean, come on.
Oh, for goodness sake. The media is a joke.
Yes.
What a ridiculous situation, like, far out.
Yes. Oh, it's funny seeing all that sort of things. It's funny. We had him on earlier on in the year, and he was talking about his kind of admiration for Sky, that he wanted to, get with Sky.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that was week 1 to 3. He loved Sky, and then Sky, he's been tweeting more recently. He said that she became one of the cool kids, and he just was turned away off her.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's funny. He loves the Misfits, so I guess I should be flattered that I class him in the Misfits category.
Yes. Did you watch much of this season that was just on? I saw, obviously, the finale. That's how kind of we connected, and you were tweeting about it, and I saw sort of your tweet there about Sky, like, welcome to the third place club with you and Tahan. I mean, if you watched most of this season, what were kind of your thoughts on this year's season compared to yours and Tim's last year?
Oh, man, it's so different. I think we had this big promise that our year was the rebirth of the intellectuals, of the smarter housemates, moving away from that turkey slap type of situation, because God, the producers hate that. But, I've watched it evolve and become more edited and more edited. And this year, I literally barely watched the show because I couldn't deal with how controlled and contrived it was. Mm-hmm. And for good or for bad, I wanted Ryan to win because I felt like he was the most genuine, sweet, and he snowboards and surfs, and that's always a win with me. But I feel like when you compare them, my year was a lot realer, but they kind of played a lot of favourites with the editing. They always do. But then Tim's year was pretty much, almost spot on. I think Tully got a really bad run, though. The social media was really bad for her that year. But now I didn't enjoy it, to be honest. I'll be interested to see if it comes back again. I'm a bit with the purists on this one now. I've learned about Big Brother. I'd love to see it go back to a more natural format. It's just become a soap opera, and it's edited, but Ryan proved that you can beat the editing sometimes. You really can.
Yeah, well, that's sort of, again, like your post that you put about Ryan, sort of about him being winner, because, there was a lot of social media backlash that he won. A lot of people weren't happy. One is Kristen on this line, but just to embarrass you,
Kristen, not a Ryan fan, hey?
No, not particularly, but it's all good. I was a fan of yours, and that's all that matters, right?
Thanks. No, I'm interested why you weren't a fan of Ryan. Did you think he was too vanilla?
Yeah, I thought he was too boring. I found that a lot of the housemates that finished right behind him, and Travis and Sky and Priya, just added a lot more to the house through the entire season, and I just didn't get that from Ryan. But I guess I can see how people might think he's more relatable or something, where he's not putting on a show, and I kind of get it.
It was, if I can put a spin on it from a housemate perspective, it's a really hard being confined in those walls for 3 months, even though I think they're in it true. And I really could just see Ryan as being someone that I would have just loved to go along with, because he was so relaxed. And I think he delivered a lot of wit and charm and more than they really wanted to show. I still think he really beat that. But, you know, I look at the people like Priya is one of the most intelligent people that they had on that show, and I love her for that. But I could see how at times she'd really clash with people like David, you know, because they're under those circumstances, they've got their agendas. But yeah, I'm still super happy that Ryan won.
It's going to be interesting to see how I think he's perceived in the long run of like a winner, because I mean I read an interesting tweet that wasn't necessarily so negative against his win, but it was kind of like saying, you know, Ben won because of this and Ben was memorable for these reasons, Tim won because of this and Tim, you know, is memorable because of these reasons, and then you've got Ryan and they were kind of like, well, you know, how are we going to be talking about him in a few years? So, but I mean it's way too early right now to be able to kind of judging that, surely.
Yeah. I think, though, that it's important that people remember these are real people and that they carry on real traits, and particularly this is now a PG show. Like, I sound a bit tame probably to, you know, you guys that really watch the show, but I don't think we should be pushing, like, the most controversial or the meanest or the most gossiping housemate. Like, I've always been against that, because these people are what these 12s are on social media are looking up to, you know. So I think it's great that they've got an intelligent, smart, nice guy who's out there, and Tim as well. Like, he's been a bit risque, but he's never hurt anyone in the way that he does things. He's never been, you know, horrible. So maybe he's not the typecast Big Brother, but go back to, you know, the old winners of Big Brother. That, you know, he's just a regular guy, and I think it's good that it's moved away from that drama rubbish that has got some people, you know, into the winning position.
And so, I mean, social media plays a lot of the part in kind of reactions and all this. And I mean, you were extremely, you know, largely talked about when you're in the house. When you're yes, when you get out of the house and you start to read all that sort of stuff or catch up on kind of the reactions to you out of the house. I mean, how are those moments when here you are realizing this is what Australia thinks of me?
Oh, man, it's so surreal. I have this bit of a joke. Do you remember those sea monkey things that you had when you were a kid?
Yep.
You just add water?
Yep.
Right, so I compare the celebrity-ism, if that's even a word, of kind of reality TV now is that we're just celebrities add water, right? So you go from this regular person who's whatever, like I'm pretty extrovert, I'm out there, I'm very my own person, I don't care what people think when I'm a teenager, you know? Mm-hmm. But you come out and you go from, like, every single thing about you is being put under the microscope. So it's hard because, like, I was really lucky that I felt like I really came out with my integrity. I stuck true to my morals, and I have the identity that they portrayed mostly. But, you know, for some of the other housemates, I have watched this whole process, social media, destroy them. Like, 3 or 4 months after the show, just people being at the lowest point they could possibly be. But for me, there were probably 2 weeks that I really struggled, and to be honest, it was because Benjamin won, and I don't normally speak about that, but because he won and the person that he was, that I just couldn't agree with it. That hurt me more than anything anyone said about me, because 90% of what I got was really positive, because I stuck to who I was, and I could live with that.
The thing that, I mean, Kristen mentioned that she was a fan of yours. I think I'm on a very rare section here still that I was a fan of yours and I was a fan of Ben's, because to me kind of it seems like you've got these factions now that exist online, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting with how everything was perceived with you watching it live, because there was like just watching social media and the things that people would say about you, it was just kind of like, well, look, I mean, it's just a TV show, but like...
Yeah, I know, but they just, like, get so involved.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't talk, because Kristen's probably going to call me a hypocrite, because I've said some things about certain contestants this season, but, like, it's, I don't know, you get passionate and involved in it, but I think there's always a fine line of being able to say, oh, I don't like this person's annoying, blah, 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 and then getting personal, and, like, there's a line there, isn't there?
Yeah, like, there's definitely a line that I think, it's hard because social media was never as prevalent in previous series, you know. So even Big Brother production team had no idea how to deal with it. But on a personal level, you've got to have this like self-regulator to really know where you stand. Because there were some crazy things being said about me. Like, just quickly to address some of them. Like, I remember there was one of the things that came out, and I actually hated behind Big Brother for this. Was they came out with this article saying that I was homophobic. But yet, if anyone watched the show, the first thing that I came and said on stage was, you know, I'm against anyone who's sexist, racist, called animals, homophobic, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that really kind of went across was that I was a rich girl and that I was fake. So they were the biggest things that were kind of running around us, and I really dealt with them well because none of it's true. And yeah, like you have to self-regulate against that stuff because you've seen like a passing of Charlotte Dawson, and you know, there's so. I actually read last week there was like 15 contestants in the state post reality shows that have committed suicide. There's this huge thing, but there's a line when you go, all right, I've got an opinion, but you don't get personal and attack because the person within you should stop you from doing that because I don't think that really should ever exist anywhere socially. It does, but that's, you know, my belief. I don't gossip. I don't believe in that.
Well, Kristen kind of mentioned it. I know, Kristen, you're a fan of, obviously, a wide variety of reality shows. And there's been, hasn't there, recently, I've noticed your updates on your social media. There's been a couple of shows that you watch where a couple of contestants, I don't know actually how they've died, so I don't know if I'm kind of jumping to a conclusion here, but there's been some deaths involved in a show you watch, hasn't there?
Yeah, none of that had to do with anything related to the show, though.
Okay.
They were... Well, yeah, one was cancer and one was just like a freak accident.
Okay,
so.
all right. Well,
okay.
Bad tangent for me to kind of compare that.
Can I just say something randomly about that?
Go for it.
Like in my mind, like how I treat reality TV, like you just said, I watch a lot of reality TV. I will talk so much shit about contestants, about what they do on the show, because they're putting themselves out on TV to be judged. But once they're out of the show, the game is over. I don't feel the need to harass people on social media after the game's over. Like, I will come out and say, I talked so much shit about Ben Norris when he was in the house, but I didn't feel the need to go online and call him names. And I feel like that's one of the bigger problems that we have, is that it's like, you can't separate people being in a game from them, like, well, they're back to real life. Like leave them alone. Like, I don't get it, but
yeah,
I'm sure you've gotten
that. Too. Yeah, it's interesting that you can see that because, you know, you say you do watch a lot of reality TV, and it's just so the diverse group of fans, you know, like the people that really watch and they do see it as a game, and then the people that don't. And I truly didn't see it as a game, and that's why I was like, oh, this is real life. Like, this is real life, but in a crazy situation. But it's still interesting to see that you can just let that go. Like, you've got a real drawn border, you know, where you're like, okay, let it go. Whereas other people will just unleash because that's their personality. But for me, I guess it's just not in my personality to talk shit. Like, I'll probably openly admit and say I wasn't a massive Sky fan, but that was because I thought she'd said to Layla Sabrisky had said that Sky had approached her and said that she was pretty much going to take on Layla's personality because she knew that was going to get her through to the final.
I saw some, I saw some stuff online about Layla had like a stalker or something, and it was Sky. I don't know what I saw, but it was It was probably unsubstantiated, but it was really hard for me to let go of this, like, niggling thing I had for Sky, because I really disliked the fakeness that kind of Layla put on. Like, I have these things that that irk me, you know, and that, so I openly said, you know, like, I said that about Sky, but, it's strange that social media, even now, 2 years on, like, I see people, I've got super fans that go nuts at Ben still. I've still got some of Ben's fans coming at me, like, it's almost like as soon as they can, they just launch back in like it was day one. I think they really get emotionally involved. That's the thing with Big Brother. It's like a whole thing. If you're in it, you're really in it. If you're not, well, you don't care. Yeah, well, it's kind of like the whole thread sort of situation, which is kind of loosely how we've been connected and everything like that on Behind Big Brother. Like, I was unaware of it. It's been brought to my attention. I've looked at it, and like, the things that were standing out to me straight away was, first of all, I was like, hey, people are talking about Kristen. She's got a fan base.
Yay!
Yeah, girl!
They all hate me.
Talk about the knot, right?
And then it's kind of like, you know, it's just interesting, like, as you were saying, because there are people that are so one-sided to, like, a person. So they'll be Team Estelle, full on, everything that Ben says is like a negative, and Team Ben, everything that you say, it's a negative. I mean, as somebody who's directly kind of involved in that, in terms of these are people who like you for your time on Big Brother. I mean, how do you try and kind of block that out or cope with that when realistically in the middle of that, it's you and Ben's relationship, which, to be honest, is really nobody else's business except yours and Ben?
Yeah, I guess it isn't anyone's business, but at the same time, you know, like how Kristen said about you have put yourself out there, like, the relationship that we shared on that show was shared with everyone, whether it was a true reflection or not. So I'm actually okay with it. And to be honest, I really bit my tongue for a long time. This is the most I've spoken loosely about Benjamin. I really bit my tongue for a long time and tried to give him a chance. But the truth is, he's a fucking asshole. Like, he's so bad. Anyway, I'm not going to go into a crazy thing, but I appreciate support for me from my fans. But at the same time, I actually love looking at the people that can objectively look at Ben and I, or anyone that are completely opposite, and see the argument or the situation for what it is, rather than, like you say, just grabbing onto, like, oh, I follow Estelle because it's Estelle, or I follow Ben because it's Ben. I'd rather people follow a situation on its merit. So, it's still kind of funny to read and watch, and I enjoy it. I get a kick out of reading some of that stuff when I've got nothing else to do, sitting at work on my computer.
that final day for you in the house there must have been very interesting to be with Ben and Layla.
It was so hard for me. Like, you saw I was tweeting a lot about this year at the finals. I watched a little bit then. And I just saw Ryan and Sky and Travis having so much fun. And I'm not trying to do a poor me here because I'm just giving you the true, like, how I was feeling. But it was so difficult in those last 3 days. Like, I felt like I was, not two of the worst people, but for me emotionally, it was really hard for me to be excited about a finale when I had two of the people that probably caused me the most grief beside me. But not because they were beside me, but they were so unsupportive, like, the whole time. They were still just having go. Like, it just became Mean Girls in the last 3 days. Felt like it was me and then Layla and Ben. Like, there were moments that we still laugh and have fun, but, like, man, when I look back, like, I look at the finals list this year and last year, I go, geez, can't I be a part of that? They're having so much fun. Let's drink some champagne, dance around. Instead, they're, like, having goes at me, like, still on live TV when Sonia's crossing to me. Benjamin's still having goes at me. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, am I ever going to leave this? And it seems not. Like, even on the show the other week, he's still trying to have digs at me. And, that's why I guess I'm probably more emotive with what I say now, because he just doesn't stop.
So I'm guessing really you were hoping then the night before the finale that you kind of like be like, please be me, Michael and Zoe. Me, Michael and Zoe.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so funny you say that because, people like Michael was this, Michael was that. I don't care. Like when I was sitting on the couch and they were calling out those last few names, Zoe and Michael, I was just praying. I was like, please, just one of them. Like, because Zoe and I, regardless of what had happened with her relationship with Michael, had a genuine friendship, and she was real. Like, if I pulled her aside really and said, Zoe, like, this is what's going on, she always responded with real, a genuine personality and dignity. And when they just both left, I could just still, I'm getting the feeling that I was feeling. It was just like this massive, like, sigh I just let out. I was like, are you kidding? Like, not one? Not one? But,
it's
it made my time what it was.
It's the fascinating thing with Zoe. Like, one of my favorite parts of you and what you did in the house, and I think a lot of people loved it. You and your horse, like brilliant. And then one of the funniest moments that I remember from Big Brother was just then Zoe's reaction to your horse and how she breaks it. Like,
it was so funny. That was like a thing that was trending almost worldwide on Twitter about my freaking toy horse that I literally was just riding around for fun because you can imagine there's nothing to do in there, like, at all. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna ride my horse. And when she broke it, like, I was upset that they made this huge deal, and then Big Brother actually put Zoe on the treadmill, and I'd never heard him so angry. Like, he actually was so furious with her, and I actually walked over and she's like, oh, I tried to splint his leg because I broke it. I was like, it's okay. Oh, it's fine. Like, I didn't see it as this big deal, but man, did that blow up.
Did she buy you another one, or have you gotten another one since you're out?
I actually got a secondary horse. I remember did you see where they asked me to teach the housemates riding lessons? And I thought they were going to give me a Shetland pony. I was like, Zoe excited. So I'm going to come in with like 10 settler ponies. But yeah, no, they gave me another sick horse, and that was it. So
Right.
I've got him just chilling in my room. He'll be forever there.
Yes, just
funny.
memories from it. Who are some of the people since it's all over with? I mean, who are the people that you remain in close contact with after the 2 years since it's been?
We're talking my series, I guess. Ryan Buckingham, you know, he's such a sweet, genuine guy, and it really annoyed me when people have said that he's the dumbest guy that they've ever met, because he's actually such an intelligent, sweet guy. You know, so Ryan, Ava, Michael, surprisingly, like, all the ingredients have always been there that Michael and I should have been friends. Like, we're both smart, and I don't mean that in a conceited way, but, you know, we're not idiots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we skate, like, it makes sense. So it's really Michael, Zoe, Ava, Ryan, and I ran into Josh, but, yeah, I'm probably going to sound terrible. Oh, and Angie, like, and Sam, like, they're in Queensland, but those two, like, Sam is one of my favourite humans. I wish was an original housemate.
Mm.
He's just the best. But my closest person from Big Brother is actually Tim and Tahan. So
Right, there you go. It's like a little click. So, like, you know, if they ever do All Stars, you know, there's opportunities all three of you could be on. So there you go.
I wish. Somehow I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, man, would I let loose? It would be fun.
They're overdue. I mean, come on, we've had 11 seasons now. Like, you don't go this long in like overseas reality shows without having at least one All Stars season.
Surely not. Like, truly, it's make or break. And I don't know, they've said that there's applications for next year, but I don't believe that until I see it. So it's like, come on, guys, just bring back All-Stars so we can, you know, set the record straight and put these personalities together.
Let's do it. Kristen, you've got a question.
I don't want to bring up any terrible memories, but we all kind of know that you lost game in a 24-hour period. Like, I'm sure you found that out soon after leaving the house. And, like, I'm sure there's no way of actually knowing what happened, but your favorite person, Ben, claims that he won because of, like, Michael and Zoe and people campaigning for him in that final day. But I love Ben, but I still stand by you losing because they showed those percentages on that night before the finale. Do you have, like, a stance on, like, what happened there?
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you asking this question because I hate being the person who brings it up, and I don't like saying it because I think people think I have sour grapes. I don't have sour grapes on losing. I'm upset with the way that it was produced. Ben can be as happy with him saying he won because he won the way he did, but he didn't. If you Google, like, anything, you look at strategy and how to raise revenue for a television show, what they did was showing the graph. Like, I was crazy in front. What they did, they have not done since. And I actually asked one of the producers, like, the next year and said, whose idea was that? Like, how could you do that? And they sheepishly said, well, you really think that's what lost it? I single-handedly know that's what lost it. Because that's the way that they manipulate results. They knew who they wanted to win. They knew that Ben was going to propose, right? They knew he was going to propose if he won. And it's funny that that's one of the only headlines in Big Brother Australia that's made international news.
It's fascinating.
So I don't just say that to make myself feel better, but after, you know, I've had other people from inside the show that I can't obviously say, but, you know, pretty important people tell me that, you know, that's what happened and that was always a revenue raiser. You know, how can I argue with that?
Well, I definitely think that we're going to decode that it's Big Brother himself who said that, Estelle. There's nobody higher up than Big Brother.
It's Big Brother. It was Big Brother himself.
Well, it's fascinating because, I mean, one thing that we talked a lot about towards the end with this season just gone is that, I mean, really, the last however many weeks, we didn't get any percentages at all. I mean, we still, to this day, do not know the percentage, or the official percentage. We've got kind of that loose percentage that was slightly shown on the finale, but we never got a final percentage of this is how much Ryan won, you know what I mean? So it's kind of strange how...
It tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, like for your season they did that to this season where we literally don't get any, so...
Yeah, the other thing that I found was weird, just very quickly, is, I don't know, you probably don't notice it from the outside, but when a housemate that is a favourite from the production side, when a housemate that is a favourite is up for eviction and they're not doing well with votes, you'll notice that they've been put on task. And I only figured this out towards the end of the show. it's funny that I never got a task and never got a message from home. Same with a lot of other housemates. But if you notice also in the last 3 years, it's almost you can look at the social following and look what's going on, and then suddenly there's this injection of something going on that's not created by the housemate themselves. And that in itself, I think that's wrong, but it's what happens. They have favourites. They want the brand to do really well. They need to make money for themselves. That's what they do.
That's how it works.
And
TV, I guess. Yeah.
You know, that's what happens.
Yeah, very true, very true. It's a fickle, interesting business, the world of TV, is it not?
The money-making machine.
Yes, and that's why we're sitting here doing this podcast, not making a cent.
No, and I'm sitting here still stuck in traffic, and I have been for 45 minutes. It's awesome.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, before I let you go, Estelle, just a couple of listed questions that I got here. One from Twitter that's pretty much been answered. Teresa Koa on Twitter says, Estelle, what do you, I think it's meant to be, what do you think about people who have bad energy or intention and still remain sane? I'm guessing the question is, so how do you still remain sane with people who are like that? I guess I'm reading into that.
Are they asking? Do you think they're asking how I remain sane or how they remain sane?
Maybe they're asking them, your advice on how they can remain sane like you seem to do.
Right. I think you've just got to be self-assured and know who you are, because the thing is about positivity, there's every reason to be positive and no reason to be negative. Like, there's science on that. Do you know what I mean? And if you're comfortable with who you are, you'll keep pushing. And, you know, karma is such a beautiful thing. And it does come around, but you just got to be happy to keep pushing for yourself, because you got to look after them, number one. If they want to go have their bad energy, let them have their bad energy. Remove yourself from that. You know, see shinier, greater things. And it sounds nuts, but it's true. Like, if you're positive, you'll get positive and you'll find positive. If you're negative, it's a horrible spiral downwards.
Well said, well said. The other one I've got here, Diane Eagles says, no question, but how are you, Estelle? Can't beat the year that you were on.
I'm freaking great. No, I'm good. Thank you for asking. And I still don't know how I'm having this conversation 2 years on, because you guys, you're just making me feel so special.
We'll try it again in 2 years and see how it keeps going. We'll keep going. It's like a cycle. We'll just make it every 2 years, and that way, like, you know, it's like, you know, peaks and troughs, but we'll make sure the peaks are always there.
Swings and roundabouts, swings and roundabouts.
Yes. Well, Estelle, it's a pleasure having you here on the show. For people who want to check you out on various social media things, do you want to give a bit of a plug where people can follow you on Twitter and the likes?
Lame. I mean, no, joking. I'm on Twitter. Delvador. It sounds like Stumbledore, but Delvador. Otherwise, Instagram, Estelle Landy. But really, just tweet at me, because I like to use words rather than pictures, and I generally always reply. So
there you go. Simple.
You know, I like to hear from people, because I'm a real person and I'm integrating back into normality still to this day. So hit me up.
Takes 2.5 years, perhaps. So 6 more months to go, I think.
Maybe. I'm still completely insane. I don't know how they can ask if I'm actually sane, but yeah.
Yes. Well, Estelle, massive pleasure. We really appreciate your time here on the show today, and best of luck. We'll get you back on one time, no doubt, in the future, have a bit more of a chat, but it's been a lot of fun today.
Yeah, let's do that. Have fun. Thanks again, guys.
And there we go. Estelle Landy, great chat, great interview, and everything else in between. Learned a lot there, Chris, and we've learned a lot in this episode, I feel, today.
I think we have, and it was exciting to hear from two of my favorite people to be on the show in these last 3 years. 3 years, yes.
You love this job of yours now, currently, don't you?
Yeah, I'm up till 1 a.m. recording this, and Priya has already followed me on Twitter.
Oh, look at that. It's kind of like you heard, like, you know, these church bells. I mean, we've already heard, you know, religious cult-like music throughout this episode, but, like, you heard it then when it's like, oh, my God, something's happening to me. I feel so light and fresh. She's followed me on Twitter.
Yeah, I got a little more excited than I ever should be over Twitter, but... It's all good.
Hang on. Let's clarify that sentence that Kristen just mentioned. I got excited.
Don't be mean.
I'm never mean. Kristen, we're going to leave this now, but thank you for this special episode. We might have more between now and if it returns in 2015, but if not, you can hear Kristen on Survivor Oz or The Amazing Race Oz. You have joined Alex as a threesome person. Kristen, thank you once again for everything you've done this season and being here today.
Thank you. I love being part of the threesome.
As we always do. And if you at home are a fan of being part of threesomes, feel free to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook and everything else in between, Survivor Oz, and you can download all old episodes of Big Brother Oz via survivoroz.com. On the episodes tab, the drop-down menu says Big Brother Oz. You'll find them all there. Thanks once again to Her Holiness Prisus and Estelle. We will be back whenever we can be back, and fuck it, this is Ben Brother, this has been Big Brother Oz, this is The Law Train, I'm Sonia Kruger, whatever, I'm leaving, bye-bye.